Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Of course, here with Kurt. Got a string of news to cover. 3 press releases in a row. I know lots of questions, so we're going to go over each of them. And we're going to do revenue first, lead that into distribution, and then of course talk brand capital. I think it'd be worth kind of addressing what's happening there, and of course kind of the delays. But Kurt, first things first, how are you?
Doing great. Good to see you, Jason, as always.
Yeah, I know you got a new camera, but looks like you got a massive sunburn.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know why I've got a new. I'm using a different computer, and I don't know. Maybe I have to color correct this thing or something. But I'm not actually. I'm not. I am a little tan. I've been out in the sun, but I'm not as red as I look. So apologies for that.
Oh, awesome. Well, here, let's dive into it. Revenue guidance. I'll read the title, and you can take it from there. But QYOU increases revenue guidance. I got to add in, revise upward 30% from the low estimates from 2 million to 2.6. Do you want to talk on this a little bit? Kind of maybe what fueled that?
Yeah, I mean, revenue guidance when you're a small growing company is always a scary thing to give, because it's not like we're a 50-year-old business manufacturing widgets and we kind of know we're going to do X number each quarter, et cetera. So it's a little bit more volatile, I guess is the word I would use. There's also obviously always the issue of revenue recognition and when that happens. And so I've spoken quite a bit about the fact that revenue trails ratings. It's not like you get the rating and then the next day the revenue hits. You get the rating, you pitch to the agency based on that, you pitch to the client based on that, you land the deal, you get that done, you find slots to put it in, you run it, and then after all that happens is when you can recognize that revenue. So in some cases, it can be as little as a 2-week to 4-week lag, but if you picked a typical sort of range, it would probably be 60 to 90 days. So you get a rating number that you're selling of 45, and it's 60 to 90 days after that comes out that you're starting to see that revenue. So a lot of what we're talking about in this quarter that just happened is from stuff that was happening back, in February or March even. And then it's trailing into the reporting quarter. By the same token, a lot of the numbers that we're seeing over this last 12 or 13 week period of 45, 50 GRP is going to show up in the next quarter that we're currently in. So it's always trailing a bit. So when you look at our revenue numbers, our revenue projections, et cetera, it's typically more about the work and the numbers and what's happened across the business in the quarter that's preceded the one that we're actually reporting. As a general rule of thumb, is it 30% of it is in that actual quarter, 37%, 42%? It depends. It depends on a lot of different factors. So that's one. But overall, I think what's important about the uptick of revenue guidance is this. Everything is growing right now, and everything is growing faster than what we anticipated. That's the bottom line, okay? When those numbers came out, they were numbers that we believe, that's why we gave a range. We believe that we maybe, if things went really well, we could hit 2.5 million. Well, now the bottom of the range is 2.6 million. That was the top of the range, okay? So the bottom of the range became 2.6 million. The bottom range of 2 million, really you put that number out thinking, okay, well, at least I'm gonna hit that number. That's what I'm saying is the minimum. That's gone up 30%, okay? So the bottom number's gone up 30%. That's a lot. That was only put out a month ago. So, that's a sign and a hint at the acceleration that we're seeing right now on the revenue side of the business, and it's happening everywhere. And so it's a super exciting time. I got a lot of questions on a Telegram this morning about, well, what about this quarter, et cetera. I'm not predicting this quarter yet. I'm not predicting next quarter yet. I'm just saying that we're ahead of expectations. That's the bottom line. You can look at it and say, where are we? We're going faster than we thought.
I gotta ask, I feel like, I'll get blasted in the Telegram if I don't ask Kurt, how are we planning to continue this growth? That's the overwhelming question. I know you were answering it already, but I'd love to kind of give you the chance to answer it here.
Well, the bottom line is that there's no one silver bullet. It's really 3 or 4 things working hand in hand. The first thing is, you got to have great shows. And so the programming team is constantly working on content acquisitions, on new shows that we'll be announcing that we're launching. It's all based on a combination of gut and listening to our audience and data. and looking at what they're watching and what's going on there. And I mean, trust me, when Netflix puts a new show up onto Netflix, it's based largely on data, not on somebody going, oh, I think they're going to like a cop show. It's because they know that their people are watching cop shows, and they're tailoring the actors. Everything is tailored around data. We do a lot of that as well, as tailoring what we're creating around the data that we're receiving around programming. The next one is distribution. People have to realize that at our 45 GRP average over 3 months, we're only at 50, 60% of the distribution of some of the larger, full tilt, fully distributed Hindi general entertainment channels. So we've still got a lot of distribution growth that needs to happen. So we've got to add to that. That's what the Den and Hathaway thing was all about. And there'll be more to come, and you'll be seeing that. Third one is marketing. Brand capital deal is very tied into that marketing effort. What we're going to be doing with inside and outside of that is happening. We've just launched a new slogan for the channel, which is Zara Hatke in Hindi, which means a little offbeat or a little different. So we're getting behind that marketing push. And we're having very surgical and targeted marketing efforts that we're putting into specific territories that we think we can have some real growth. So it's a combination of all of those things. And then it's having a team that can execute against it. You know, we've got a full management team now finally in place in all these different areas that's driving all this stuff forward. And so the combination of all that is, again, what we call internally Mission 75, which is how do we get to 75 GRP? Do I have a timetable for that? Well, internally, we all want to get there by the end of the year. Will we get there? Maybe not. It's a very, very, very aggressive number to get to. Okay, that's like saying we're going to go to the moon. But why not? Why not shoot for the moon and hope you at least get halfway there?
No, it's fair. Hey, I remember doing videos like this. We talk about it often. You know, saying, "I wish we could get to 10." And
Exactly.
But,
No, totally.
you know, unpacking that a little bit, you know, going through the recent press releases and pay, you know, into the next segment here. You already kind of, you know, of course, gave the teasers. Let's talk about distribution a tiny bit. You know, Q India launches on 2 new cable platforms. Do you want to kind of intro this a little bit?
Yeah. You know, one of the big things that's pushed us along and driven our ratings growth is when we launched on a system that I've spoken about called Free Dish. It's called Doordarshan Free Dish, which has about 40 million customers in India. And you buy the little satellite dish for very little, you know, $5 or whatever it is. And then you get the content for free. And you have to be a free to air channel, which is what we are in India specifically to be able to hit that audience. It's been a huge boost to our ratings and been a huge help for us. But it's primarily going to tier 2, what are called tier 2 and tier 3 cities, which are smaller cities and rural areas of India. Well, that has certain programming that we need to push into that. That has certain advertisers that want to reach that as well. There's also obviously the massive urban market in India, cities like Mumbai and Delhi and these types of places. They tend to be more penetrated with more mainstream satellite services and more mainstream cable services. So we've got some of those deals in place. City Networks we've been on for a long time, which is a major cable platform there. The largest cable platform, single cable platform in India is Den. So we're now on to Den. Hathaway is another large one. We're now on to Hathaway. And we've launched onto those platforms very, very targeted into certain areas that are Hindi-speaking markets where we know that we're going to be able to reach the audience that we want to reach. So distribution, again, is one of the key pillars of growing this thing, of Mission 75, if you will, and getting there. And so you're going to see continued distribution deals getting done. And we want to get closer and closer to being on par with where the biggest players are. But again, it takes time, but we're making a lot of progress.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Well, look, I think that's a great kind of overview on, and hey, congratulations. I got to ask, someone asked a great question. Did you try and get on these platforms before and they wouldn't take you? And now with the recent ratings, they're interested? I saw that question. I'd love to ask it.
Yeah, in India, you have to pay for distribution. It's pay to play situation. And so they basically say, hey, we're going to deliver you to all these customers. You've got to pay for it. Well, when they don't really want you or don't really need you, then they charge you a lot more because you're just trying to get onto the platform. So in the past, when we spoke with these companies, they were putting out rates for us to be on their platform. And we're like, no way, we're never going to pay that much. It's not worth it. Well, that's flipped completely. So now we're a very popular channel. So they want to carry us because it's, you know, goes back to the old, I want my MTV days. I want my QTV. And so if you're a major player in India, you want to have the Q as one of the leading channels, fastest growing channel in India, you need it on your platform. So we're in a very, very different negotiating position. So we're actually paying less, ironically, as a much more popular channel than we would have been as an unpopular channel.
The tables have turned. Love it.
The tables have turned. So, but still, these are negotiations. So that's why it doesn't, it takes time. Plus, another big part of that is what's called LCN, which is your channel placement. Where's your channel on the platform? They don't have just any channel that you can, you just don't want to launch on any channel and say, we'll be channel 263. You want to be in what's called the neighborhood of the other major Hindi general entertainment channels. And there may not be a slot that you want to go into. So they may not have a channel available. So it's just to make it simple. It's 1 through 15 are the top Hindi general entertainment channels. Well, you want to be channel 63, which is the open slot. So you can't get onto the platform because you're not going to go on there. So these are all things that happen in negotiations, because one of the big deals is you want to be in the right neighborhood, is what you call it on the channel selector guide.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Hey, you're opening something. Hey, what else? What's this show next to the one that's coming on in 20 minutes that I want to watch? So
exactly,
makes sense. And now I guess leading into it, so let's talk brand capital. It seems like it's taken a little bit longer than we all hope. You used the words imminent. I'm curious, obviously these are kind of the biggest questions out there. We talked about marketing the channel, talk about brand capital. Do you want to maybe say what the holdup is, and then we'll go into
Yeah, no one's more frustrated about brand capital than we are and they are. And the reason is that we're dealing with literally a governmental approval agency that has to deal with foreign investments into India. And it's very complicated, and frankly, it's a real pain in the ass, but it's required, and you've got to do that. At the end of the day, it really gets all into just money laundering and things like that, where the government forms controls when you're moving around large sums of money. And so we have to get RBI approval. And we literally structured our acquisition of Chatterbox in a way that didn't really require the same sort of things, because we learned our lesson on this one before we got into that deal, and we restructured it in a different way to still have to deal with it, but not at the same level. So at any rate, the problem that happened was we announced this deal in March. Well, if people will recall, April is when the COVID onslaught really hit India hard and took the country to its knees for a while. It's still a problem there. Jason and I were supposed to travel to India in April. We canceled our trip because of the COVID outbreak. And RBI is a governmental agency. And so all the government offices shut down. 5% of their workforce was coming into the office, et cetera, et cetera. And, in India, a lot of these people aren't set up at home to remote work like we are in other countries if you're a government official or paperwork person. Net of it all is it slowed things down. It became very frustrating. It became hard to get clear communication. But we've gotten through that. With the process, the way it happens is you submit, then they come back with a list of a bunch of questions. You answer those questions, then they ask you more, then you do, and it's a process back and forth. Well, we've answered all the questions now, and we believe satisfactorily. And literally, I expect brand capital to close. It's imminent. It could be any day. It could be Monday. It could be, I don't know when this will air, but it could be next week. So bottom line is that we believe that it'll happen.
The general, I think, call it FUD. The general FUD out there is, brand capital no longer wants to do this deal, but you're saying it's the complete opposite. No, they're interested. This is just simply, the Royal Bank of India, kind of slow down, and obviously dealing through COVID and the other things. But both parties really want to do this, and they're both frustrated with how long it's taking.
Yeah, it's by the way, it's the Reserve Bank of India. It's the Royal Bank of Canada. No, look, that's why we put out. That's why I asked brand capital, to be blunt and honest about it, for a quote in the little update release that we put out today, because I know people are like, okay, they're not interested in QYOU or something, or they know something because they're in India or whatever. No, it's the exact opposite. They're as frustrated as we are. We all want to get it done. And we all want to get to work, because people have to remember that they're making an investment, but we're also working with Times of India and brand capital when they become an investor, so that we can advertise on their platforms at reduced rates and do other things, because now we're strategically part of their company. They're investors in the business. They're strategic investors. So we want to leverage the strategic investment in every way possible from a marketing point of view. And we can't really do that until we close. So that's why we've been frustrated with it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen soon.
Got it. Well, hey, that's a good update. I think, obviously, I know you're seeing that as the biggest thing out there, and so am I. Anything else you wanted to put? I know we covered, kind of 3 press releases, a busy week for the Q. Anything else you wanted to get in this video?
Yeah, Jace and I, a lot of people who watch these know who Jace is. He sort of runs all of our product and tech platform stuff, et cetera. He and I are jumping on a plane, maybe stupidly, I don't know, we'll find out, to fly to India on Monday. We're doing a sort of 3.5-day offsite in an area called Goa. We've got a villa there that's awesome, where we'll all be sleeping, eating, and meeting together for 3 days. And it's all about, we've hired a lot of people. We've obviously got Chatterbox integration that's happening, all that sort of things going on. And we've really grown fast over the last 3 months. Simran Hoon, our CEO, has come on board. So what we're doing is we're doing a strategy and planning session, not only for the immediate second half of this year that we do on a weekly basis, daily basis anyway, but we're all going to be together. We're going to lay out and go through each of these pillars I'm talking about: programming, marketing, distribution, possibly acquisitions, looking, ahead, channel launches, all the stuff that we talk about. We're going through all of that over a 3.5-day period and really planning the next 18 months of the company's go forward. That doesn't mean we can't change things and alter things, obviously, but we're gonna map out really the next 18 months, make sure every department is completely in sync from a communication point of view of what's got to happen, because we're in the big leagues now. So we got to play big league. We got to play like big boys. And the sort of mom and pop operation that we were for a while has changed into a real company, and we're building the next big media company in India right now. So we gotta do it from a serious planning point of view. So that's really cool. Super excited. We were originally going to do this in April, but because of COVID we couldn't do it and had to cancel. And so here we go. It's now July and we're going for it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. Safe travels. I know that's a long journey. It's probably what it feels.
20 hours in the air, baby.
So hey, hopefully you got some leg space on the plane.
Yeah.
Thanks so much again for taking the time, and I know we covered a bunch of things, and hopefully we're chatting again here soon.
Yeah, hopefully we'll do one of these maybe when we're over there with the whole team, just a quick one so everybody can meet the various people in the company.
Perfect. Looking forward to it. But Kurt, thanks so much for taking the time.
Okay, Jason, great seeing you, buddy.